Rod Wylie is a giant within the Queensland corporate community. He's had a stellar career which has covered so many sectors and has made a huge contribution to the state of Queensland. His reputation for commercial acumen and wisdom, his enthusiasm and above all his absolute commitment to integrity really extended beyond the state of Queensland. The fascinating aspect of Rod's career has been the fact that he was actively and constructively engaged for a period of over 50 years. And that is the true character of an outstanding leader within the Queensland community.
I was very fortunate in that my grandparents, who came out to Brisbane in the 1860s, were very responsible members of the community with senior roles and high personal values, and that came down through our family. My father had a very strong belief in education, so he sent me to an interstate boarding school where I learnt independence and self-discipline, and then after that he encouraged me to study commerce at Queensland University at a time when most accounting personnel didn't have university degrees. So I was helped with the family background and attitudes to values and serving the community, and not just in business positions but community organisation. Over my whole career I was very fortunate to have a relatively, in most cases, a long period on each board. AMP main board, I had been on the state board first, but I was on the main board for 14 years until I reached retirement age. With the TEAS board, I was recruited there as chairman, and I was there for 17 years, and for 16 of those years I was also on the Leighton board, Leighton being the holding company. Then for QUF, I had been recruited very early as a board member there, and altogether I was there on the board for 30 years, with 20 years as chairman. I was one of the first Queensland residents to be asked to be a director of major companies managed from New South Wales or Victoria. I am very content with TEAS, which when I originally, of course, Les TEAS had a wonderful company and a brand name, but then CSR took it over for the coal and let the construction business wane. When I joined TEAS, it was a loss-making company and its 3 big contracts were all making losses. But eventually, getting good management, it became the biggest and most successful engineering company in Australia, not just Queensland. Now, it was the executives who did it. It was the Martin Albrechts and the Roger Trundles and the Nick Dukes and all those fellas.
The board, first of all, I thought was an outstanding one. In fact, somebody said to me, even before I went on the board, that if you've got a board with Rod Wylie on it, you've got no worries. And Rod had that reputation then and still has it today. Rod brought to that board the discipline and the integrity and the ethics and all of those things that are important in a public company. I've seen other public companies that get into trouble, and where they get into trouble they forget the basics, and Rod never forgot the basics. We understood our various roles in management and being chairman of the board, and I was delighted to work with him for so long.
All the companies that I was involved with, by the time I finished, had grown and prospered and were in very good status, in a very good position, strong and well managed.
The most outstanding aspect of Rod's career is the extent and the width and the breadth of his achievements within his profession, where he was an outstanding figure. Within his directorial engagements, which encompassed so many different industries, both within Queensland and nationally, within his community engagements, and within the service that he provided to the government at various stages. He was a man of absolute commitment and enthusiasm, but also of unwavering integrity. And those were the qualities that people sought within the many sectors in which he participated. when you take a step back, whichever way you look at it, it has been an absolutely outstanding career. Within the government sector, Rod was the inaugural chairman of the Queensland Competition Authority, and on any view, that was a tough job. But Rod established the procedures of that organisation in its formative period, and that served both the government and the state of Queensland well. Notwithstanding all of these engagements and all of these commitments on his time, Rod still found the opportunity to play a major role in the community areas. He was significant within the Salvation Army and the organisation of its Red Shield Appeal, within the Children's Spastic Welfare League, and of course Rotary, and for many years served with distinction for the Brisbane Cricket Ground Trust.
I've always been an optimistic person and still am. I think that the world is always improving, and if you give people a chance to be positive and perform as well as they can, they will respond to that. I've always been a glass half full instead of a glass half empty man, and I still am. I've been so lucky. I've had a career, I just happened to be in places where things positive were happening, and I just happened to be there. I was lucky. I have been very proud to see the way Queensland has come through from a state of small size and not much consequence in the national scene to its importance now in so many ways. And I'm very proud of Brisbane and the fact that so many things in Brisbane are done at world standard. And I'm just very proud indeed to be a Queenslander, and I hope to have played a little part towards that end.